Hi there, welcome back to my channel. This is Reika Does Blender, and today we are going to continue this fairy scene. So check out the previous videos. Last time we have modeled this mushroom, and today we are going to texture paint it. Now, you don't really need any special equipment to texture paint it. You can just use a mouse, but I am using a One by Wacom drawing tablet, which is a super cheap drawing tablet. I think you can buy it for about $50, and I've been using it for years without any issues whatsoever. Okay, so this is where we left off. This is our little mushroom. In order to texture paint it, we need to unwrap it into a two-dimensional surface. So what we need is go to our UV editing. Now we already unwrapped the trees and the platform, and I have the trees here, so I'm just going to remove it. Click on the X, and I am in edit mode. I am going to object mode, and let's start with the eye. So we have a mirror modifier on the eye. That means I will only have to texture paint one of them. And what I need is going to edit mode, select all with A on your keyboard. And what we need is unwrap it. So press U and choose Smart UV Project. Now I'm going to leave an island margin of 2. That should be enough. And when I click on unwrap, you can see this is the eye unwrapped. The island margin is the distance between these little segments. So you don't want them to be too close to each other. This is why we leave a little bit of margin. Right, so what I want to do is create a new image, which will be our image texture. So click on new, and I'm going to call this mushroom eyes. And I'm going to change the resolution to 2048, but you can leave it on 1024. That's fine as well. Untick the alpha and create new image. I'm going to zoom out. So this is our image. And what we need now, I'm going to go back to object mode and create a new material. So click on here and name it mushroom eyes. I'm going to leave it on white because we are going to paint it anyway. So what we need is we need to load up this texture that we just created, or image texture. So click on the shader editor workspace, press Shift A, go to texture, image texture, and put it here. And from this drop down menu, choose mushroom eyes, and you can just hook it up to the base color. So here I'm going to choose texture paint, and last time I was painting with my soft brush, but this time I'm going to use my fell brush. And here from the tools, this is where our brush assets are. So we can leave it on mix. This is a blending mode, and it blends the light and the dark colors. So that's exactly what we need. So from the colors, I'm going to leave it on 1, and I am going to choose a white-ish color, but it's not going to be completely white. I'm going to make it just a little bit darker. And then all I have to do is click on my eye, and you can see it turns white, and that's fine. And the other thing I want to do is go to my paint hard brush, press F to size it down. It's a little bit too big. I'm going to press my slash key on my numpad, so it will isolate my object, and press 1 on my numpad. So now I'm going to resize my brush and change the color to black. And let's have a look. Press slash on my numpad. Here you go. We've got lovely little eyes for our mushroom. Okay, great. So we painted the eyes, but what about the other objects? I'm still in the UV editing workspace, but that's fine. So what we need to do now is to click on the image, press save, and I'm going to leave it as mushroom eyes and save image as. Okay, great. Now let's go back to object mode and choose the mushroom stem. Let's delete this material. Go to edit mode and make sure everything is selected. If not, then just press A. Pick U on your keyboard, Smart UV Project, and I changed this to 0.06 and then just unwrap. Now I previously unwrapped it, so mine is already here. and I'm just going to call this mushroom stem 2. The 2 is because I already done an image, so I just want to make sure I can distinguish it. And then everything else is the same as I previously set it up. So I just click on new image and zoom out, and then I'm going to create a new material, mushroom stem 2, and press Shift A to add texture, image texture, and just going to load a mushroom stem 2 and plug it in. Right, let's go back to object mode. So again, it's black, but that's fine. So go to your texture paint, and here we go. So with this one, I want to use a gradient to paint my little mushroom stem. So I'm going to isolate it and press 1 on my numpad to go to front view. So I'm going to choose my fill brush again. Instead of the color, I'm going to go to gradient. Now here you can set up whatever color you want. So just click here, and right now it's black. So I'm going to change the value, and I'm gonna go with something like this for the first color and make it a little bit darker. So that means one part of your mushroom is going to be that color. And then if you click here, you see it changed to white. Now, I don't want it to be white. I want it to be something like this. You can also add with this an extra color. So you can click on this and change it to something like that. And then it's going to add extra colors to it. So let's say if you want this to be red, then it's going to be this color. And what you need to do is click on the bottom of your mushroom stem, pull this line up all the way, and then it changes the colors. But I'm going to undo that because I don't want this orange color. So I'll press Ctrl Z and remove that color. So let's see now. Here you go. That's the color I want. By the way, I'm getting these tips from Ryan King Art, who also does Blender tutorials, and he's pretty amazing when it comes to creating mushrooms. Okay, so this is my little mushroom. Now what I want to do is change my brush. So this is where you change your brushes as we did it before. I'm going to choose my paint hard brush and leave the strength on 1. And I'm going to leave the color on black. And what I want to do is change the size of my brush to around this and just carefully color in the mouth. So be careful because you need to move your stem around, otherwise it will color the parts that you don't want to be colored as well, like the outside bit. See, I just done that. So it's Ctrl Z. So just very carefully do it inside of the mouth. Done it again. Change the size of my brush. And then just make sure you're turning your stem and don't click on it with your mouse. Here you go. So this part is done. And just to the top as well. You don't particularly need to do this, by the way. You can just leave it purple. The shadows will sort of make it look like it's a mouth, but I think it just looks better if you color it. I am really bad with line art, so I can't really do straight lines, but that's okay. Okay, great. So it's done. That's it. Our stem is colored. Make sure you save the image here. So save mushroom stem 2, save as image. And now if you press slash on your numpad and go into render view, then you will be able to see how it's going to look like in the final render. So again, we don't have light set up just yet. So it's quite dark, but that's okay for now. Right, so now we need to go back to object mode and choose the hat. Going to edit mode. First of all, let's remove this image texture. Press A if it's not all selected, and then Smart UV project and unwrap. And there you go. You can see the 2-dimensional version of the mushroom hat all unwrapped. So create a new image. Let's call this one mushroom hat. Everything else is the same as it was, so you don't need to change anything. Click on new image. Create a new material, call it mushroom that. And I'm going to add color to it and maybe here as well. And you will see later why. Okay, so let's press Shift-A to add texture, image texture, and let's load up the mushroom head color and plug it in. There we go. Let's go back to texture paint. And I am going to use the same gradient. So it's still set up as it is. Let's press slash and one on my numpad to go to front view and just use the same gradient. So you can see it's here, same colors. Now I'm going to press 7 on my numpad and I'm going to choose my soft brush, make it bigger and bring down the strength to around 0.3 or 2. Make sure you're in the color. And I just want to paint sort of like a very soft white top just to lighten it. Actually, I can even change my blending mode to lighten my mushroom. And then I want to go multiply. For multiply, you have to use a darker color. So you can see it starts to darken your mushroom just a little bit. And on the bottom, I want it a lot darker. So here we go. Let's go to mix again and make it brighter. Shift X is your color picker, and now you can see it's added to your color palette, and you can choose it from there. Make it maybe just a little bit brighter. So I'm just gently going through my mushroom top. Make sure to not have lines like this. Bring down the size of my brush. Going to add this to my color palette, change the size of my brush and just go on lighten and just lighten my little mushroom and do it again on the top like that. And now I'm going to press Ctrl+7, that will go to the bottom. I have no idea what are those. Okay, honestly, I tried to figure it out what it was, but I could not. But that's okay because, to be honest, that part is actually covered, so it doesn't really matter. So let's continue. So here on the bottom, I just wanted to make it a little bit darker. And maybe this part just a little bit whiter or lighter. And what I want to do is I'm going to choose like a turquoise color and make it as light as possible. Change my brush into a paint hard brush, but bring down the strength to around 0.4 or 5. Change the size of my brush and then just sort of draw some lines here. Like that. And I'm just going to speed this up. This anomaly really annoys me, but I couldn't figure it out why it's there. Once I'm done with these lines, I'm going to check if it's visible in my rendered view as well. Right, so you can just draw some lines in the middle as well, like that, but this part isn't going to be that visible, so it's fine. Right, now gonna go back to top view And I'm going to change this to a little bit darker, something like that. And I'm going to save my image just to check something. Go to render view, press Ctrl+7. Okay, when it's in rendered view, then those anomalies, they are not visible, so I'm not that worried about it. Right, go back to here, and I'm just going to paint some very small dots all over my mushroom, just some random little dots. Like that, a few bigger ones. Just make sure they are spread all over, and then go to front view with one on your numpad and do it there as well. You can make some little dots as well, bigger dots, just some random little dots all over the mushroom. Press 3 to go to side view. Ctrl+1 to see it from the back. And Ctrl+3 to see it from the other side. And that's it. Okay, great. Right, make sure that you save this image. Now, press / key on your numpad. Here we go, that's our mushroom done. Now, what I want to do is I am going to go back to object mode. We need to unwrap this hat once more. So go back to edit mode. And first of all, let's remove this image texture. Now, it's unwrapped already, but we need to create a new image. So mushroom hat, and I'm going to call it emit. So here we are, and here we are going to add a new texture. So Shift-A to add texture, image texture, and this time we are going to plug it into the emission, and we are going to load in mushroom hat emit. Right. So go back to texture paint mode, press / on your numpad. So here is our little mushroom hat, and I'm going to go for the paint hard and leave the strength on maximum. So first of all, let's save this image, mushroom hat emit, save image as. Okay, so I'm in top view and I'm actually going to change the strength of my emission to 60. Press F to make my brush size bigger, and just going to paint some dots. So make sure that you're actually changing the position, otherwise it's going to be a bit deformed. So just go around, change the brush size a couple of times, and just paint these dots onto the mushroom hat. So I'm just going to speed up this to make it faster. A couple of big ones, smaller ones, a couple of very small ones here. Do some here as well. Very small one here. Here. Let's make 2 in here. Make a bigger one here. And that's it. So let's save the image. And now if you go into render view and have a look here and start changing the strength of the emission, you can see that it reflects on the tree behind it. So I'm going to leave it around 60, but it's absolutely up to you what you want to do with it. So let's go back to material preview mode. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to object mode and just select all my objects. Press Shift-D to duplicate and X to pull it on the side. Press RZ to rotate it and S to scale this mushroom down. G and Z to bring it down. And G and X to put it next to the big guy. And then Shift-D again, X. And this one, I'm going to scale it to about this size, and G and Z. Actually, this one, I'm going to make it even smaller. Put it there. G and X. So now, here we go. And then I can go to render view. And there are my little mushroom guys. Okay, so hopefully this tutorial was helpful to you. And if you want to build this scene with me, next time we will be doing some flowers, also texture painted. And if you want to support my channel, hit subscribe and like. So thanks for watching and see you next time.